What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. The WBC finally gave a ruling on Dillian Whyte's status as he petitioned to be the immediate mandatory for Deontay Wilder. Jose Sulaiman Jr. ordered Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte, WBC final eliminator for the mandatory position for the WBC title. I don't see that fight happening. You know, Tyson Fury is fighting Tom Schwartz and Dillian Whyte is fighting Oscar Rivas. Bob Arum said after Tyson Fury pulled out of the negotiation with Deontay Wilder for the rematch that they were not going to go that WBC route. They had other plans for Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury is going to be fighting Tom Schwartz, and he's probably going to fight another tune-up, and then he'll be looking maybe to fight Deontay Wilder, or maybe they try to position him as a mandatory for one of Anthony Joshua belts. You know, Tom Schwartz, I think he's number 2 in the WBO, so if Tyson Fury wins that fight, he'll move up in the rankings. He might move up to a mandatory position, or he might have to have another fight to get that number 1 mandatory position. If they don't go that route, maybe they fight Deontay Wilder in a rematch after he fights Tom Schwartz and maybe another opponent after that. So don't look for that. Bottom line is, don't look for that fight to happen. You know, either guy want to fight, no matter what Eddie Hearn said. Eddie Hearn saying they're willing to fight Tyson Fury, but he's basically saying he don't think Tyson Fury is going to take the fight because Tyson Fury pulled out of the Deontay Wilder fight. You know, he had a direct path to the title, fight Deontay Wilder in a rematch. He pulled out of that fight. So why would he then go fight an eliminator when he pulled out of a direct title shot versus Deontay Wilder? He has a good point there. But Eddie Hearn is not looking to make that fight either. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are enemies. Don't like each other. You know, they're not going to get together and on a fight like this anyway. I don't see that happening. The only way those two guys get together on a fight, it's gonna have to go to a purse bid. One of those guys win the purse bid. That's how a fight come together between those two guys fighters. You know, especially in a high profile fight. You know, I know you're gonna say, well, didn't Boo Boo Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders, didn't they have a fight lined up? Yeah, they had a fight lined up, but did it actually take place? You know, Billy Joe Saunders failed the drug test. You know, he had some nasal spray or something, took the wrong ones, and he failed the drug test. You know, let them tell it. And the fight got canceled. But even if that fight would have took place, that's not a mega fight. That's a good fight, especially because Andrade's been inactive. If Andrade had been fighting and been active, that's a mega fight. But he hadn't been active. He had just been coming back from a lot of inactivity. So that was not a mega fight when it was supposed to take place. But I'm talking about a mega fight. You know, I'm talking about like Anthony Joshua, a matchroom fighter up under Eddie Hearn, and Tyson Fury, that's promoted by Frank Warren. That fight there would have to go to a purse bid, I think, and it's gonna come down to which person gets the fight. Whoever outbids the other person gets that fight. That's how a fight like that's gonna take place. I don't think Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, both of them guys, even though this potential fight between Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury will be a 50-50 fight, I don't think the fight is big enough where Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren will put their egos aside and make that fight. You know, I think this is two fighters that's fighting that don't have belts, number one. It's a non-title fight. It's a top 5 heavyweight fight. I give you all that, but it's not Wilder Joshua. It's not Wilder Fury. Better yet, it's not even Anthony Joshua, Luis Ortiz. It's not even on that level. So so don't look for that fight to happen anytime soon. You know, Eddie Hearn them has petitioned the WBC to make Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas a WBC final eliminator. I don't think the WBC we're gonna go for that because Oscar Rivas is not ranked high enough for them to make that eliminator. I think Oscar Rivas is probably somewhere in the top 10, lower top 10, I think, of the WBC, if he's ranked at all. He's ranked in one of those. I don't know if it's the WBC, the WBO, of the WBA. I know he's ranked in the WBO, but I don't know if he's ranked in the WBC. But anyway, WBC is not gonna They're not going to make that fight eliminator. So I know all you BK fans, UK fans, all UK fans hoping that they make that eliminator. It's not going to happen. JB Sports is going to break the news to you guys first. It's not going to happen. I know you're going to guys say, wait a minute, JB Sports, wait a minute. They made Lomachenko, gave him a title shot against Luke Campbell, and he wasn't ranked in the WBC. Yes, but he's got 2 belts. He's got the IBF and he's got the WBO. He's top 5 pound for pound. You know, that's a special circumstance. You know what I'm saying? That's a special circumstance. Oscar Rivas is a nobody. He had his only notable win was a Brian Jennings, and Brian Jennings got destroyed by Luis Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? Brian Jennings was winning that fight until he got careless and got caught and stopped in the 12th round. He was winning every second, every minute of that fight. You know, it was a good win by Oscar Rivas, showing his composure and not giving up on himself and having faith in himself, and he was able to come back and not lose hope, and he was able to come back down on all the scorecards and pull that fight out in dramatic fashion in the 12th round. Yeah, give Oscar Rivas all the credit in the world, but Oscar Rivas is not an elite level fighter. If he try to petition somebody for a special status, he doesn't have a track record, the resume, or the notable wins like a Vasily Lomachenko. But Lomachenko is a special case, man. He's going to be able to get things done that other fighters haven't got done based on his status in boxing. So don't compare the two. So bottom line is that fight is not going to be no WBC eliminator. Dylan Whyte's going to have to beat Oscar Rivas, and he's going to have to wait for Jose Sulaiman Jr. to set up another eliminator if Tyson Fury don't want it. And if he doesn't, and then wait for them to set up another eliminator. And then if he fights that eliminator, then he can finally get his shot at the WBC belt. So we'll see what happens on that. Also in boxing, Jarrett Hurd versus J. Rock Williams is this Saturday in Fairfax, Virginia, man. It's really heating up in the month of May, man. We got a lot of great fights coming up, man. We had the fight last week between Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs. That fight did not live up to the billing of two champions at 160 pounds, unifying the titles. That fight lacked a lot of action. You know, it wasn't an action-packed fight, man. You know, that's what happens when you have 2 counter punchers fighting in the ring. But it was it was a good win for Canelo Alvarez as he moved on, got the win and moved on, and hopefully he'll move on to another fight that's a little bit more exciting and a little bit more action-packed, man. That was just. That's not going to be a fight you remember. That's not going to be a fight like, oh, yeah, man, you remember in 2019 when Canelo Alvarez fought Danny Jacobs, man, that was one of the great fights in the history of boxing. No, that's going to be afterthought, man, probably next week. That fight, man, didn't, I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't hyped for that fight. I don't know because it was been on the zone. It just wasn't getting that much publicity, man. But the week leading up to the fight, I started getting a little bit excited, and then they had the weigh-in, and Canelo and Jacobs went forehead to forehead, and Canelo pushed Danny, and I got kind of hyped for the fight. I said, okay, and Danny said that motherfucker's in trouble, and did a lot of talking, a lot of woofing. So I thought, okay, this might be a good fight, man, but nah. It kind of went like how I thought it was when they first announced that fight. You had 2 counter punchers fighting. It's not going to be a lot of action, and that was the case, man. Just not enough action and not enough aggressiveness for Danny Jacobs. He knew he wasn't going to get no decision against Canelo. He should have went for broke a little bit more, especially early on in the fight. He kind of let his hands go more in the second half of the fight, but it was too little too late. But anyway, man, we got Jarrett Hurd versus J. Rock Williams, man. This fight is going to be all about Jarrett Hurd, man. Jarrett Hurd's going to win this fight. I done watch J. Rock Williams, man. He's a classic B-level fighter. We talking about Danny Jacobs. I said this after the fight when I did my post-fight analysis. Danny Jacobs just ain't special. He's a B-level fighter, man, and he's he's got his jab is not that great. He's got a good overhand right, and he's got a decent quickness. And he's, it's just nothing special about him. It's nothing special about him. Nothing special about his feet work is not great. He's aggressive in spots, but he's just, You know, he lets his hand, when he does let his hands go, he is a pretty good combination fighter, good left hook, but he's just nothing special about his fight. And that's the same thing I see with J-Rock, man. J-Rock's got a decent jab, decent left jab, and a decent right hand. You know, he can throw combinations too, and he's decent at that, man. But it's nothing special about him, man. Nothing special about him. And to beat a fighter like Jarrett Hurd, who's a great pressure fighter, a guy that can take a lot of punches, and a guy that can walk you down and impose his size and impose his will on you, you got to be able to have power to back him up. J-Rock is not a power puncher. You've got to have skill level like a Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison was in the fight with Jarrett Hurd. Tony Harrison was actually putting on a boxing clinic with Jarrett Hurd in the first half of that fight. You know, with his punches, he fought a beautiful fight. But Jarrett Hurd's size and aggressiveness ended up wearing down Tony Harrison. I think Tony Harrison's stamina wasn't up to par like it is right now either. His stamina gave out on him, and Jarrett Hurd was able to stop him in the second half of that fight. I think J-Rock is not the boxer that Tony Harrison is. He's not even on that level as far as boxing and setting the jab. His jab is not as, he's got a good jab, but his jab is not as good as Tony Harrison's jab. You know, he's got a decent overhand right, but his right is not as accurate, it's not as sharp as Tony Harrison's right hand. And J-Rock's been put to sleep before. You know, it was by Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo is a heavy-handed fighter. He's a one-hit-a-quitter type of fighter. Don't get me wrong. So Tony Harrison, so I don't, you know, if Jermell Charlo would hit anybody with that punch, they would have went to sleep. So I'm not saying J-Rock got a weak chin, but he's been dropped before at the elite level. So I just don't see him having enough power to gain Jarrett Hurd respect. And even if he did have enough power, I don't think he'll, you know, even if he did have enough power, I don't think his boxing skill is enough to slow down the pressure from Jarrett Hurd. You know, he's decent, but he doesn't have the movement. Tony Harrison was able in that fight with Jarrett Hurd. Tony Harrison was able to use his boxing skill and his boxing technique to kind of keep Jarrett Hurd at bay, but his stamina wasn't up to par. And Jarrett Hurd, you know, started in that fight what he does in a lot of fights now is he got aggressive and he started walking down Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison's stamina wasn't up to par. He was able to stop him. And I think that's what's going to happen in the J-Rock fight. You know, I think it might happen a little sooner because I don't think J-Rock is at the level of even Tony Harrison was when he fought him. I think maybe J-Rock hangs in there a little bit long. Maybe his stamina is better than Tony Harrison, so that might allow him to hang in there a little bit longer. But I don't think he'll actually, you know, like I say, Tony Harrison was ahead in that fight before the fight got stopped. That was what's so bad about it. He was ahead in that fight on my scorecard. I don't think J-Rock necessarily was going to even be ahead. I think it'll be closer to be competitive. But I think in the second half of the fight, I think the size and weight and aggressiveness of Jarrett Hurd will overwhelm J-Rock Williams, and he ended up stopping him in the 9th round. I'm predicting a 9th round TKO for Jarrett Hurd. If Jarrett Hurd gets by this fight, you know, he needs to be looking to Jermell Charlo. If Jermell Charlo gets by Tony Harrison, that's a big deal because that's a 50-50 fight. That fight can go either way. But if Jermell Charlo is successful in regaining his junior middleweight belt, then that's a fight that everybody's been looking forward to for the last year and a half. So hopefully that fight can transpire. If not, if Tony Harrison wins that fight, I don't think Jarrett Hurd will probably be looking to fight him again because he beat him, stopped him in the first time. It wasn't any kind of controversy about the first fight, so he might move up to 160 because the guy's a big guy. I still can't see how he gets down to 154. You look at the weigh-in today, he was actually at 152, 2 pounds under the middleweight limit. That guy is a freak of nature, man. Because he's young right now, so he's able to get away with cutting that weight, but eventually it's gonna catch up to him. Maybe it's this fight, maybe because that's 2 pounds. That kind of raised my eyebrow. I'm like, okay, I can see him being at maybe 154 or maybe 153 and a half. But the guy was 2 pounds under 2 pounds under the 154 limit. So we're gonna see how he rehydrate. If he rehydrate to like 180, 184, that's going to be like a 32-pound rehydration. So that could affect him in that fight. We'll see what happens, man. But I'm looking for a dominant performance from Jarrett Hurd. And if he does look a little sluggish and a little not as aggressive as not as sharp as he usually is, then that might be a sign that he needs to move up to a middleweight division. So we'll see what happens in that fight tomorrow night from Fairfax, Virginia. It's a homecoming fight for Jarrett Hurd. Sometimes when you get in those type of fights, you try too hard to impress your fans and your friends and family, and you sometimes make mistakes and end up getting caught, get put to sleep, or not looking good, man. Winning the fight, but trying to look for the knockout so much, you leave yourself open to get countered and end up not looking impressive as you have in your previous fights. So we'll see what happens, man. He's got a lot of things to that could be a distraction. Hometown fans, the 2 pound under the weight for a big guy like that, 152 pounds. That's maybe that could have effect on him. It could that could come into play. And if you are a J-Rock fan, that's what you got. Hold your hat on. Those two factors right there. I don't think that's going to be a factor. I think Jarrett Hurd that you've seen against Tony Harrison, the Jarrett Hurd you've seen against Austin Trout, the Jarrett Hurd that you've seen against Ezrealanda Lara, I think that's the Jarrett Hurd you're going to see tomorrow night, man, in Fairfax, Virginia. So we'll see what happens, man. But I like Jarrett Hurd, 9th round, TKO. In other boxing news, man, did y'all guys see the press conference between Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo? Ladies and gentlemen, it has just got personal between those two guys, man. Tony Harrison got up there, man, and said, "Look here, man, be quiet while you talking. I got the mic, man. Hush up. When you talk, I let you talk. But when I want to talk, you want to open your mouth. Shut up." Called a man a cornball, saying he's a crybaby. He whining about the decision. He lost a lot of respect for him. He said he lying on him. He's saying, Jermell Charlo say, "Hey, man, you told me after the fight I beat you. Now you want to get in front of the mic on Fox and lie in front like you won the fight, but you told me that I won the fight." And Tony Harrison say, "Man, you out your mind. You ain't win the fight. I ain't tell you that." That remind me of Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler said Sugar Ray Leonard told him he won the fight. After the fight, and then when they gave the fight to Sugar Ray Leonard, split the sin. Sugar Ray Leonard told him, "I ain't tell you that." Same thing, man. Same thing. I think what's going to be happening, man, is a lot of times after the fight, a guy go to the guy and say, "Man, good fight, man. Good fight, man. No matter what happened, man, you always going to be champion, man. You still the champion. No matter what, man, you still the champion. No matter what, you still the champion, man. You still the champion, man." And the guy that hears that thinking, "Oh, he's saying I'm the champion. He's saying I won a fight. He's saying you the champion." Nah, what he mean is, no matter what, man, no matter what the verdict is, what the decision that judges render, you still a champion, man. You get to this level, man, you beating top competition, whatever the decision is, you're still a champion. But sometimes people thinking like, "Oh, well, I won the fight." That's why he's trying to sugarcoat it, and they go from step B. From step A to step Z, just that quick. "Oh, he said I won a fight." Now, he didn't say you won a fight. He just said you're a champion no matter the outcome. But you just saying, "Oh, he said I'm a champion, so he said I won a fight." So it can just easily, translation and somebody wanting to hear something that they didn't hear could easily get a fighter thinking that, "Oh, he said I'm the champion, so you must think I won the fight." Nah, he's just saying you're a champion no matter the outcome. Don't let them know three people sitting in ringside decide if you're a champion or not. You could be a champion in life, but you might not be a champion as far as the champion at that time of winning that fight and holding on to your belt. That's what I think happened actually in the Sugar Ray Leonard Marvin Hagler fight. Sugar Ray Leonard said, Marvin Hagler, you still a champion." Marvin Hagler thought that meant, well, he said, "I'm still a champion." Yeah, because I won the fight, I'm still a champion. But he's saying you're still a champion, no matter what this decision by the judges is, you're still a champion. Your career, you're a Hall of Famer, you defended your title, got a record for the most middleweight defenses at the time. Marvin Hagler had it till I think Bernard Hopkins came and broke that, and Triple G was close to breaking it. I can't remember if he broke it or not. He might have either tied it or maybe broke it. But Marvin Hagler had the most consecutive middleweight defenses. He had the record until the execution of Bernard Hopkins came along and broke that record. But anyway, man, I don't think Tony Harrison, just like Sugar Ray Leonard, I don't think they either one of them told the other guy that they won the fight. I think they just told them they're still champions no matter what the judges decide on. And then both fighters took that to mean that the other fighter thought they was won because they still the champion. You know, you lose, you're not the champion. You win, you are the champion. If you're saying I'm still the champion, that you must tell I won the fight. But anyway, man, but you know, anyway, between those two guys, man, it's got a real personal, man. Tony Harrison was calling the guy a cornball. You know, the guy, you know, he says it's real personal, man, you know. And you notice that right after the fight, Tony Harrison was very classy, man. He said, look, I'm willing to give you a rematch, man. You gave me my opportunity. I give you my opportunity. And then Jermell Charlo got the mic and said, yeah, you know I want to fight. I'm the champion, man. You know I want to fight. I got robbed. And you said I want to fight. And Tony Harrison was like, no, man, he ain't say that. Man, you tripping, man. You tripping. And then he started looking for Jarrett Hurd out in the crowd saying, I fight you, man. This guy, he don't want to, ain't give me no respect, lying on me, saying he wanted to fight and crying and stuff like that, man. I want to fight you, Jarrett Hurd, but I don't think Jarrett Hurd is going to take that fight, actually, if Tony Harrison wins the fight. I think this is our last chance to see the fight that people been wanting to see for the last year and a half. Jermell Charlo must win this fight. If he loses this fight, the Jermell Charlo Jarrett Hurd fight might not never happen, you know. And Jarrett Hurd you might not see Jarrett Hurd at 154 after the J-Rock fight. You might see him go up to 160, and maybe he fight Jermell Charlo and fight some of the guys at 160. Maybe you know see if he can get maybe a fight with Canelo. That'd be a mega fight. So we'll see what happens on that front. Yeah, see what happens on that front. Another thing, man, and another boxing news, man. The WBC ruled that Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury WBC final eliminator for the WBC strap that's going to be decided May 18th next week. I'll be talking about that fight between Deontay Wilder and Dominic Breazeale. I'll be breaking that fight down next week, man, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, I don't know what Jose Sulaiman Jr. actually doing because Tyson Fury had a direct shot at the WBC title fighting Deontay Wilder, and he ran like a white girl in a Freddy Krueger movie. Man, they want no smoke with Deontay Wilder. 50-50 deal, man. That's unheard of for a challenger. You know, 50-50 deal, especially when in the first fight you didn't win. You know, it was a draw, and the guy was giving you 50. He didn't have to give you that. He gave you 50-50, and you didn't take that. Now you gonna fight Dillian Whyte in an eliminator when you had a direct shot, you know, for 50-50. Nah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Dillian Whyte don't want that to happen, or Eddie Hearn don't want that to happen, and Tyson Fury and Frank Warren don't want that to happen because Tyson Fury wants to fight Tom Schwartz, and I think he wants another tune-up, and then maybe fight Deontay Wilder next, or once again, or sets himself up as a mandatory for one of Anthony Joshua belts that he have. Maybe he beats Tom Schwartz. Tom Schwartz is like number 2 in the WBO. How high he number 2, I don't know. The man is a nobody. It's the first time I ever heard of this guy. I don't know how he got that high in the WBO ranking. But anyway, he's number 2 in the WBO ranking. He beats him and then fights maybe another top contender. Maybe he gets that number 1 ranking, and then he'll set himself up to be mandatory for Anthony Joshua WBO title. And then, you know, with him being on exclusive on ESPN, and Eddie Hearn saying that Anthony Joshua will soon be signing a multi-year deal with the Zone. That fight probably might have to go to a purse bid. So it's gonna come down to John Skipper deep pockets against Walt Disney, ESPN, and top rank deep pockets. Find out who bids on that fight, who wins the purse bid, and that's who station is gonna have that fight. Well, channel in ESPN or app in the Zone that's going to have that fight. So that's what we're looking at as far as Tyson Fury options and Dillian Whyte options. So don't look for that fight to happen. You know, Eddie Hearn is petitioning the WBC to make Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas WBC final eliminator. That's not going to happen because Oscar Rivas, I don't think he's even ranked in the WBC. He's ranked in the WBO, but he's not ranked in the WBC. So I don't see that fight. Once again, I don't see that fight happening, man. I don't see that fight happening at all. I don't see that fight happening at all, man. I think both of those guys going to be going different routes. And I think it was Jose Sulaiman Jr. should have known this. I don't even know actually why they ordered that, because they know the two guys already got fights lined up. And you look at the statements Bob Arum made, saying that when Tyson Fury pulled out the Deontay Wilder negotiations, that they were going a different route and they wasn't looking to fight Deontay Wilder for the WBC strap. So they told you they was going a different route. And Dylan Whyte has ducked 2 or 3 other eliminators. So that should let WBC know he ain't looking to fight top competition to get a title shot. He just wants them to give him a direct shot at Deontay Wilder, and that's not going to happen. So what the WBC needs to do, in my opinion, is reorder for the 3rd time Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz for the WBC mandatory position. And then the winner of that fights Deontay Wilder, Dominique Brazil one. That's what I think they need to happen. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, man. But I'm about to get up out of here, man. And you guys have a good night, man. And have a good night, safe weekend. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.